Now, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday afternoon, Valve sent out yet again another update for CS2. This time around, it's not necessarily new content, yet an update continuing to fix problems from before and after this most recent 5GB MVP update. On top of last night's blog post, Valve also introduced a boatload of new features of recording and clipping your own gameplay, which also hardly affects performance in game, which is pretty crazy to consider. As well as Valve has showcased a brand new Steam controller. Today's video, I want to break down last night's blog post. We're going to showcase changes and take a deep dive into the new features and how you can access them. Now, today's video sponsor is SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is a buying, but most notably trading marketplace, that being for your CS2 items. You can trade off your old skins for something new. All you do is log in with Steam, you start a trade, and any cash remaining goes to your available balance on the site. When it comes to trading an item you don't have enough balance for on the site, SkinsMonkey has a large variety of deposit options. By using my code MANDO, you can get up to a free $5, and by depositing alongside using my code, you get an additional 35% of a deposit bonus. With SkinsMonkey's large variety of skins, they also offer daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways. If interested, the link will be in the top of the description down below. Firstly for today's video is last night's blog post. Now, like we mentioned at the beginning of today's video, this update from last night seems like a continuation of this MVP update, which this itself seems to be a trend by Valve, where after a major update for fixes or content, for the next couple of weeks following that update, large patches are sent out fixing new and outstanding problems. But speaking of difference, the only difference between this update and any other one for any other major content update is with this MVP update, we got 5 brand new maps, which yes, are from the community, but CS devs and map creators are hard at work, and they're going to continue to be probably for the next couple of weeks, sending out more updates to come, patching new and outstanding problems. Now, last night's update on June 26th had 2 different categories, that being for maps and miscellaneous. The first category up is for maps, that being pool day. Valve mentioned they updated the latest version from the community workshop. By clicking on the link they have in the update notes, you can see for pool day, that being for arms race, it's just all bug fixes. The map creator clipped the rooftops of the 1.6 version to prevent players from leaving the playable area. And for the second and last category is miscellaneous. Valve added support to load the latest version of the community workshops on the workshop when playing on community servers. So even if they're different versions of the same maps, those are also available as the official map groups. So when it comes to community servers, if you have your own, that being for a specific map that Valve has in their own game, you no longer have to play on an outdated version. You can play on the newest one that doesn't have those bugs or certain glitches. For the second category up in miscellaneous, Valve fixed G-Sync detection to also work in non-windowed full screen mode. For the third category, Valve fixed a case for US English keyboard layout could remain the same for loaded users with a non-English keyboard. And for the last category in miscellaneous, let alone the whole blog post, is Valve fixed an empty radio command string which plays when the C4 is planted several seconds from detonation. And that concludes last night's blog post. Now, normally after an update we go over the best and most important features, but today there's not really any. It's mainly just bug fixes. Pool Day seems to also be the only map that received official update or spot in the blog post, but it wasn't the only map with a lot of problems. Thera is probably the best example I have here, where this map had some major glitches and bugs where you could throw the C4 out of so many different places in the map, so hot fixes should arrive this week. Another thing I will mention is the FPS increase from when I played these back in the workshop before they were officially added to CS2 servers is pretty amazing. Some FPS in certain parts of certain maps, especially on Assembly and Thera, has improved drastically. Now, stepping aside from CS2 and last night's blog post and update, Valve have just introduced a long-awaited clip and record feature. Now, this was leaked several months ago, I believe for Dota 2 or the Steam Deck, I can't remember specifically, but now it's being officially released by Steam. Now, my thoughts on it so far for the short amount of time that I had use with it, it's one, great for YouTube highlights and videos for your friends on Steam. Biggest and best feature of this brand new feature, if that's what you want to say, is this takes minimal performance away from you. It was to the point I didn't even notice a change in FPS, and it's even stored right on your PC, but it's also stored to the cloud. It's kind of confusing. Very similar to screenshots and how those work with Steam. Valve has a whole blog post on this new game recording feature. Now, some of the key features are player added markers, where you can drop markers in the timeline as reference points to go back later that you want to quickly grab for that specific clip. Maybe you get a crazy shot in CS, an ace, or maybe a VAC live happens, who knows. Valve also has it where depending on the game you play, judging by just looking at the timeline, you can see if you're in the lobby, the menu, or playing the game while you're actually, well, defeating the enemy, which is pretty insane, and I wish something like Adobe would have that, but that's probably never gonna happen. You can easily export all your clips, your highlights, your full 120-minute videos directly for an MP4, and you can even create a share link that you can scan with a QR code on the Steam app. You can also send it to a different device. This also works in the Steam Deck, where it's verified by Valve, and that's pretty insane itself. A couple other things to mention is you can record in the background. You can record up to 120 minutes of past previous gameplay, and it'll just automatically stop and go on your computer. This even in the highest quality that Valve has, which is very high, it looks very good. For 120 minutes of gameplay, it only takes up 10 gigabytes, which is pretty crazy, considering, let's just say if I record something of my own game, my own CS highlights with OBS, if it's over a 30-minute game, it can be anywhere from 30 to 50 gigabytes for almost the same quality. Yes, it's a little worse, it also is on Steam, but nevertheless, only 10 gigs for 120 minutes of gameplay, that's pretty awesome. Now, if you want to try it out yourself, if you go to your Steam settings, you're not going to see this whatsoever, but don't panic. All you have to do is go to Steam, Settings, the interface, and choose a specific beta. Once you update and restart Steam several times, you can go to the game recording category at the very bottom, and now you have 3 different options to record your gameplay. Number 1 is off and don't record, so this won't record anything. You can record on demand with whatever key you want. So if you want to record a round right before you get into it, you can do so, and you can also stop it whenever you want. And the last category category of recording is recording in the background. Steam will begin recording your video automatically, and the last 120 minutes of gameplay will be kept on your PC, let alone Steam. And you can go back and clip and highlight whatever you want and delete it if you don't want it to save some storage. So this overall is a great new feature. I'm glad that it's here, and I'm pretty surprised of how much storage it only takes up. And lastly, I want to mention for today's video is the brand new Steam controller. Gabe Follower yesterday afternoon put out a tweet saying Steam controller 2 ? He says that Valve has teamed up with a Japanese manufacturer to create an officially licensed controller. It has 4 extra buttons, Bluetooth input, direct input, touch sensors, and a gyroscope. Has 12 hours of battery life, does not have vibration haptics or a microphone. Currently only available in Japan for $60. This all for $60 is pretty darn similar to a PS5 controller that retails for $80 over here in the US, which that's pretty awesome. Now, when and if this will ever come to North America and Europe, I'm not 100% sure, but this thing is darn well cool. With that being said, that concludes last night's blog post and all the new features and the new controller that Valve has released. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay positive, sexy. I'm out, guys. Peace.